Ben Koger, are you here? I know he was here
Sorry,
earlier.
I was muted. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. So yeah, so my lab uses computer vision to address pressing real-world needs while simultaneously investigating the fundamental drivers of the natural systems that we study. And so we do this work in beautiful Laramie, Wyoming. And so I'm both in the School of Computing, so we really care about designing and using great tech, but we also care about the biology. I'm part of the Department of Zoology and Physiology as well. And I have master's, PhD, and postdoc positions available, so definitely get in touch if any of this is interesting to you. Next. So in terms of thinking about some of these real world needs, as many people have talked about, monitoring is often one of the important first steps, and we definitely do this kind of work. So we have a big project up in Bristol Bay, Alaska. We're interested in monitoring the nesting habitat, the nesting ponds of sockeye salmon. And so in this case, we're interested in really high spatial temporal resolution, where every day over the course of a month using drones, we can say exactly where are individuals, how did that change from yesterday, and how does that change over the course of a season. But what's really exciting next is that when we have models that are able to reliably detect animals, then we can use those same techniques, but in very different contexts. So if instead of images, we record video, here you can see in these exact same ponds, we can watch brown bears hunting these groups of salmon, or we can start thinking about some of the actual mechanisms behind the numbers that we're looking at. So we can think about predator-prey dynamics, collective behavior, and thinking about things like habitat selection, what's actually driving the number of individuals that we see. Next. And so that sort of pattern of thinking, both about monitoring, but also about kind of mechanism is something that applies for a lot of our work. So a project that I'm really excited about is working actually within Wyoming. So Wyoming has 40% of the world's pronghorn population, that funny animal on the left. And the Wyoming Game and Fish Department is responsible for managing most of those animals. And so we're working with them to go from their human counts to to these sort of automated image-based counts that other people have talked about, and just doing that effectively at scale, across the state, across the region. That's a good problem in itself. But again, once we have this high resolution imagery, there's actually a lot more that we can do, beyond just counting individuals. We can think about where are roads, where are fences, where is human development. And again, start thinking about this kind of mechanistic model of what's driving these population numbers, what levers do we have to pull to make sure these populations remain sustainable into the future. And in closing, something that I want to highlight is, so this work with Game and Fish, they're just 5 minutes away from the university. The planes take off just 5 minutes away from the university. So if you want to have the opportunity to spend some years really embedded in one of the great kind of natural ecosystems on the planet, and really get to work with stakeholders every day, really get to see the complexity of these systems in the 21st century. I think this is an exciting place to do that kind of work, and definitely reach out. And just in general, I think for all these presentations, if any of this seems exciting but maybe intimidating, you're not sure if you fit, definitely just send an email, and I think you'll be surprised by the response. Thanks.